The law was quoted extensively. This is what the law said, this is what the law said. But they did not tell the people what violation was leading to the suspension of the license. And I don't know that they would have learned from that mistake. I don't know. So they have suspended the license of Mohammed. I think they collect all the firearms and all this everything. Let me see where that will go. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. I know he itching to talk on this issue as well because he spoke about it on several occasions. I showed that he wanted to talk about it again. CC, let me hear about this suspension thing, man.
Well, I hold no brief for the Mohammeds, no brief for the Mohammeds. I don't even know them only by hearing about them in the press and things. So. But I always like to go back to the law, and I have before me the Private Security Act, the Private Service Security Act number 2009, Act number 32 of 2009. And here's what it says. I want to read section 4.2. And they talk about suspension of licensing. Notwithstanding any other provision of this act, a license shall not be approved, issued, cancelled, revoked, or suspended without the prior express written approval of the minister who shall be the licensing authority under this act. Let me go over. Notwithstanding any provision of this act, a license shall not be approved, issued, cancelled, revoked, or suspended without the prior express written approval of the minister who shall be the licensing authority under this act. Very clear. I saw a copy of the letter that was sent to the Mohammeds, signed by the Commissioner of Police in terms of suspension. And for me, if I go back to section 4.2, it talk about the minister is the licensing authority. So the minister has got to give the license. And if the minister give the license, it is the minister has got to revoke. The commissioner is what you call the controlling authority in this act. The controlling authority in this act. And when there's a cancellation, I read the commissioner letter to the Mohammed. I say I'm not representing the Mohammed, but I believe in issues relating to law enforcement. And I've been commenting on them ever since. And I read what Commissioner write. He telling them about what are the powers, and when a thing is suspended or cancelled, what should happen in terms of the firearms being large and all kind of thing. I don't get time to go through all of that. But when I read what the commissioner wrote there, up to now, he has not indicated even in a sentence of what offense, what were the breaches committed by the Mohammeds. What are the breaches committed of the Mohammeds? And section 10 of this act lists a whole set of breaches from A to I. So at least I see none of them there was quoted by the commissioner. A to I talking about breaches where where firearms can be granted, it could be granted, and then what should happen as the case may be. So I listen and I watch, and then I know according to law that a person must be told in simple language, in language that he understands, what is the offense he commit. In simple language, in language that he understands, and his Article 144B of the Constitution must be told in simple language, in language that he understands the nature of the offense he has committed. I haven't seen anything listed in that memo, in that thing that he can sign to the Mohammeds. And then again, too, when you look at it, the commissioner getting difficulty in putting couple sentences together to make a paragraph. But then, by the way, he wrote a whole book. I'll stop there.
Well, that's an interesting observation. You can't write a couple sentences, sensible sentences, a paragraph, but you're writing a book. Well, there's got ghostwriters, There's got ghostwriters when you're writing book and so on. This thing is interesting. Do these people not seek advice? We read the law to you. CC read the law to you. And I know they have something called natural justice. You can't suspend, revoke, you should not. I say you can't, you should not. Without the people having an opportunity to be heard. However, this extended squatter that they have this commissioner, can't regard to that. Even the complaints authority reported to the president that this man was disobeying the law. 2 consecutive years, the complaints authority did so, and they promote the man. So they must like that. You have the case, I will always refer to it, of Damian McLennan and those guys with the Quindon Bacchus murder. Damian McLennan, Simon, and the other guy, the Nabriga. The men were charged, the Nabriga for the murder, Simon and McLennan for some other stuff, which up to now I can't understand. They appeared in court, I think it was on the 5th of July 2022, and this extended squatter dismissed them from the same date. So even though the Constitution guarantees them the presumption of innocence, they ain't operating in this book. That doesn't operate in this book. And the very Attorney General has commented several times about these illegal acts and the fact that when they commit these illegal acts, the state, we taxpayers, have to pay. But they're not doing anything to make sure that these things stop. They're not doing anything. So here you have a case where they're suspending the license and he's not following the law. The law spells out who can and what should happen. And as I've said, once you are going to take an action, I had a long discussion with a former judge and a former senior counsel, and they told me, right? Because sometimes you don't know it all. So that's why we share this experience. So look, if you're gonna revoke a firearm license or even suspend, you have to ask the person to show cause, and you have to tell him in clear language why this action is contemplated. You have to tell the person. You have to. That is what this natural justice is. You have to let the people know so they get an opportunity to defend themselves. But these people believe power is absolute. So they get the power and the law say, oh, we're going to do that. But you are responsible to make sure that things are done in the proper manner.